I just wanted to say thank you for coming, for supporting this cause, anti-racism and ending injustices in town and everywhere else. And also I want to thank for everyone who support the cause but was not able to come in today. It's not about one family. We all know that. It's about many people in town and outside this town.
Can you turn that up? Can you turn it up? It's louder? It's up it?
It's the mask.
Just speak into it.
Well, you just speak into it. Make sure that you're keeping your mouth in front of that microphone.
So thank you again for coming, and I want to introduce one of my co-hosts, Jessica Garcia. She also lives in town. She's a social worker just like I am. And Jessica, thank you.
I don't know, can everybody hear me? No. Can anyone hear me now? I might use that. I might have to use that.
Do you need sanitizer?
No, it's okay. I'll sanitize after. How about now? Kind of? Can anyone, okay. My name is Jessica Garcia. I am a resident here in Barrington. I am also a social worker. I work at Thunder Mist in West Warwick. And I also have a private practice right here in Barrington where I serve members of our community with mental health and substance abuse issues. Not only that, I serve members of this community and of Providence who have been victims of racism and injustices and even police brutality. I mean, that is the fact, that is the truth. I don't think we can be silent anymore. That's the problem, is we've been silent. And it's not a secret. So we're here today, and we are here for a family that was a victim of racism, that it was identified as, quote, racial overtones, but it was not. It was a hate crime, and it will be a hate crime. That's why we're here. We're gonna fight. It's gonna be a hate crime. And we are not gonna stop until it is. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here for us, for being here for our children. I'm here as an advocate, as a citizen, as a social worker, but I'm here as a mother to my biracial daughter here, that I'm going to raise her, and I'm going to stay in this town, and I'm going to raise her, and I'm going to feel comfortable, and it's going to feel safe for everybody.
Yes,
So thank you. Now bear with me, I'm not good at pronouncing names, but I am here to introduce Sagamore William Guy, also known as Winds of Thunder, from the Pokanoket tribe of the Pokanoket Nation, who's here to also address you guys and speak in behalf of this crisis, because that's what it is. This is a crisis. Just like COVID-19, this is a crisis. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Taniska, which is hello in my language, and Kwatakwakwa, Horny, good afternoon. It's an honor for me to be here. Said my name is Po Wa'api Neopog, Winds of Thunder, and I am the Sagamore of the Council 7 Royal House Pokanoket Tribe of the Pokanoket Nation. And in that capacity, I would like to welcome you to the ancestral lands of the Pokanoket Tribe and Pokanoket Nation, which is Somes. 400 years ago, my 10th generation maternal great-grandfather welcomed the Pilgrims to this country. The Pilgrims were a different race, of a different ethnic background, yet my people welcomed them to this land. A peace treaty was signed with my 10th generation great-grandfather, the Massasoit Osamiquin. And Osamiquin, Massasoit is not his name, Osamiquin is his name, which means yellow feather. Massasoit is a title, which means great leader. He was a great leader of the largest Indian nation in colonial America. Well, he signed this peace treaty, which lasted 54 years. Unfortunately, as time went on, my people found themselves being the objects of hatred and being discriminated against in our own land. It is not okay, and I stand here today to say it is not okay then is not okay now. It is not okay to tolerate hatred and oppression of one people against another. We need to strive to live in peace, harmony, and balance. We, the indigenous people of this land, stand in unity with you 400 years after we welcomed the Pilgrims and support the equality of all men. If I, an American Indian, the original inhabitant of this land, can do that, then so can everyone else in this land. We must learn to love our neighbors as ourselves so that we can truly be one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. And in closing, I would like to say, give a little war cry that Anawan, my paternal great-grandfather, 10th generation, my father's side, gave to his people during the King Philip War. And that was, Ayutash, stand firm. Ayutash, stand firm. Ayutash, stand firm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming out. Thank you for the amazing people that organized this on such short notice. It was truly a community effort, and it's really great to see people here without much warning. I don't know if you can hear me. So I just wanted to be really concrete about some of the reasons why we're here today, because a lot of times, we talk, like the first statement that was put out by our town council had a lot of language that suggested that we believe in equality and equity and respect for all people, but in reality, the nature of that statement, which was to downplay this as an incident that had racial overtones and that it had anything to do with a property boundary dispute, is absolutely inaccurate and is one more example of systemic racism that exists in Barrington and in Providence. And I just want to be clear that I respect and admire everybody on the town council, and I respect the people who work for the, in the town hall. But I want to be clear that all of us have been raised in a toxic environment, and we have no perspective on what it's like. You and I, all of you are my friends, and we don't have any perspective. And if this incident was a wake-up call and an absolute shock to you, then we need to be more exposed. And we have specific things that we're asking for from this town that they should implement, and we've been asking for it for a while. And I'm going to use this opportunity to be specific about some of the issues that are very important for Barrington that do not currently exist. Okay, we need anti-racism training for the teachers and administrators for the public schools of this town. Many racially motivated incidences, hate crimes, not overtones of racial something or other, hate crimes have occurred in our schools on a regular basis to children of color and to teachers. Okay, children from this town are bullying their own teachers. That is sick. That is one of the sickest things I've ever heard. And when these incidents have occurred in the past, people have brought them to the attention of the people in charge who are supposed to be educating and teaching our children and keeping them safe. The biggest danger in our town is not an outside shooter who's going to come in and kill our children. It's our administration and our town and ourselves and our community and our lack of willingness to be very uncomfortable at this time. This is a very uncomfortable time, and it needs to be. So let's move forward to make it more comfortable. Not more comfortable like, hey, let's put out a statement that says we believe in equity. Let's do stuff. So anti-racism training for the teachers and the administrators of the Barrington Town school system is essential. Our kids need to be taught real history. They need to be taught what actually happened here. They need to understand the power of the statement that was just made that said, if I, a Native American person, can do this, can open my heart to welcome you and want inclusivity, then I'm screaming. You know, then you sure can, right? We stole this land. We killed people. We brought people here against their will, and we enslaved them, and we continue to subject them to treatment that is unacceptable. And that videotape is one example of ongoing, and I know people resist the words of the microaggression. People get so defensive about these liberal, politically correct terms. These are ongoing issues that people in this town who are not white like me, who don't look like me, encounter on a daily basis. So specifically, I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the people that this happened to. I will say that it was a shock to them to be brutally attacked and called racial slurs, which also, by the way, don't even apply to their nationality in any way, right? Like, this man, this person couldn't even get straight which one of the group of people that he hates was the person he was talking to. It's insane. But the people who this happened to were as shocked as you, because they were trying to believe that they live in a town that's full of love and supportive of their 2 children who they're raising here and has a place for them. So, for example, they own one of the nicest houses in this town. They've worked hard their entire lives. Their families come from elsewhere. They have their parents have worked, their grandparents have worked, and they find themselves here. They buy this beautiful house. They work really hard. They lived closer to town for a long time, and their life was pretty easy. It was pretty okay. They moved to the end of Barrington, where apparently there's a Mason-Dixon line, and you're not allowed to cross it. And so they moved down there. They didn't know about it, and as soon as they moved there 3 years ago, they were subjected to behavior that none of us can even imagine. Some people parking in your driveway without asking your permission, coming home from work after a long day of work and finding there's nowhere for you to park, and going to your neighbor's house and asking them what's going on, can you guys move your car, and having them act as if you're being uppity. That is not okay. That has never happened to me. I'm a low-income single parent with 3 children. I am the not important person in Barrington, and these people are amazing contributions to our town, to the culture of our town. They have so much to offer, and you know, we are not only behaving like animals, you know, like thugs. We're the thugs. This is totally unacceptable. But in addition, we are denying our kids, like Jess said, of the opportunity to have a rich and fulfilling life that's full of diversity and exposure to various experiences and histories and food and culture and celebration. I am so tired of going to marches and being accused of being hateful and not being compassionate for the people who oppress people. I enjoy going to protests or gatherings where we dance and we sing and we march and we actually celebrate what it is we're fighting for. Like, we're not doing anyone any favors right now by asking people to allow human beings to live in this town and share their amazing, amazing gifts with us. I am sorry to be screaming at you. I'm so glad you're here. I know that I'm not screaming at you. I think I might be screaming at anybody who might be watching this. And I just want to say that, you know, we are a community, and okay, the other thing I wanted to say was that our kids need to be taught real history. So they need to have education in the schools. And in reality, the education in the schools in Providence needs to be for kids who can learn about their culture, about their history. Like, I moved to Providence because I wanted to have a diverse place for my children to be raised. But I had to move to Barrington because the school system was so dysfunctional, and I moved out here so that my kids could go to a school that had soap in the hand dispensers, that had, you know, airflow. I think about the statement that it's safer for kids to be in school right now, and I think about the kids in Barrington, and that statement is not the same for the kids in Providence. This is a huge problem in our state as a whole. There is no equity, so you have to move away from the beautiful gifts of multiculturalism and diversity so that your children can go to school in a place that is not a criminal offense for them to be standing in. It's insane. It's insane. So, the kids in Barrington certainly need this kind of education, but the children in our state deserve to have access to an education so that they can actualize their potential. That is like a basic human right. The last thing I'll say, just for anybody here and then I'm going to shut up, I'm so sorry. Anybody here who would like to make small symbolic changes, which are by no means the larger systemic changes that need to happen, but the symbolic changes need to happen as well. One of them is that this incident was not an incident that had racial overtones. It was a hate crime. And one of the reasons why our town doesn't want it to be labeled as a hate crime is because we get listed on like a registry. We're tagged as a town in the United States. People look, where am I going to move? Oh wait, Barrington had hate crime, so I think I'll go to East Greenwich. And you know what? Like that's bad marketing for our town. And our town is invested in itself as a business, so they want to keep that off of being tagged. But I personally feel that a town with the racism and the reputation of racism that Barrington has is in and of itself a negative non-endorsement. You have to drag me out here to live in this town, kicking and screaming. I didn't want to come here, and I can also guarantee you that all the people you're talking about, that we're talking about, that we want to embrace and we want to support, they're not interested in coming here because it's not welcoming for them, because when they do, people in their neighborhood attack them for not a dispute over property. The people they couldn't even accept that their neighbors had a stake which indicated that they had property. It wasn't about where the stake was. The family was not encroaching on their land. They just had a stake that said, we live here and we deserve to live here. We are not interlopers, we are not intruders. And that family, that privileged, entitled white family who doesn't know any better and who I sympathize with and pray for, but I'm certainly not going to coddle, they couldn't even handle that because it was a representation that these people of color own more than they do. They live across the street, and the people that this happened to live on the water, and these people just could not process that. And that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. This is so big. I can't even, obviously, I could talk all day, but I really thank you for being here. Also, the name Providence Plantations on our state, for anybody who doesn't know, it needs to come off. Yes. Okay. Gina Raimondo has been an advocate of ours. Mayor Alorza has been an advocate of ours. They have executed executive orders to make a small dent in that problem in the meantime, right now, in this day. So if I'm a person of color and I'm getting my paycheck and I work for the state, I don't have to see Rhode Island and Providence Plantations on the top, right? That's a basic no-brainer. So if they leave office now, anybody else can come in and overturn that order. That is not set in stone in our state. It needs to be changed on the Constitution. It needs to be voted in November. So there is going to be a referendum on the ballot. There is a group working very hard. Gina Raimondo said she would offer her support to us. We have yet to meet with her, but we're hoping to. We're working hard to get that off of the Rhode Island State Constitution, and that will be probably amendment number 1, because there are probably no other amendments to the Constitution. So I ask you to vote yes. The wording is, not surprisingly, very complicated and hard to understand, even for me, and I've been wanting this since I was 5 years old and old enough to read my birth certificate, and embarrassed that it said Providence Plantations on it. So please vote to remove that. It's not a performative action. It's not in any way stating that that's the solution. It's just a small, daily, decency for people not to have to be subjected and be reminded that nobody even cared enough to take a little care of them. To make their day a little less horrible walking around in this state, which I unfortunately have come to find to be so incredibly racist over the past several months. I'm just gonna say, if anybody wants to talk afterwards, I'll be over here. My name is Catherine Quinn, and I just wanted to thank these guys, and I leave this microphone up to you to decide who you hand it to. Okay.
Would anyone from the public would like to make any comment, question, or any statement?
I just wanted to ask what's going to happen with this doctor who attacked this family, who I'm here to support this family. I don't want to get political, but I am here for this family. And I'm wondering, do they have to live next to this guy? Is there any, what's going to happen? Do they have to, like, continue to live next to this guy who attacked them and barely get away with them? I'm just wondering, does anyone know what's going to happen?
So, I just want to say that specifically this family has requested that they not be the central point of today's event, and specifically that their privacy is respected. Just want to be clear about that, they're also very aware that they are extremely privileged, and their experience that just happened is in no way equitable, in any way like similar or reflective of what daily happens to people of color, minorities in our state, and they want to be very clear that like they feel very privileged, and that is actually, as she's my best friend, I find that despicable that she has to apologize for having worked her whole life to get to a point where she's financially stable. But so that is the issue with the making sure that it is deemed as a hate crime and not as, you know, a incident that had racial overtones that had anything to do with a property line dispute, which is just so incredibly either willfully ignorant or offensive, and I just can't even go there. So it is a hate crime. The definition of a hate crime, according to the FBI, is a physical or verbal assault on somebody that is racially motivated. Okay, that's a hate crime. What do you think that was when a white man ran out of his house screaming horrible things? You can see the video, it speaks for itself, repeatedly and then unapologetically expressing his right to have said it when confronted. Yes, I did say that. That's a hate crime. That's not about property. That's not about a man. People are, oh, poor guy, he probably has dementia. Number one, I spoke with him yesterday. I went over and tried to reach out to him and his wife. He doesn't have dementia. He's an angry, racist, privileged white man who cannot stand the fact that his family lives across the street from him. So ideally, this gets called a hate crime, which it is. And we stop hiding from the fact that this town has a serious problem. And thank you so much for asking this question. So there's a rally on Tuesday. Black Lives Matter is organizing a rally at 1 o'clock on Tuesday at the Attorney General's office, which I believe is in Cranston, having a hard time keeping up with all of this. And they're there specifically to support this family, which I just want to give a big shout out to thank them and to thank all different groups for coming together and forming a coalition, because we are not like little groups, all of us fighting for our own right. We are one group of human beings, and we need to support each other. So on Tuesday at 1, they're going to be at the Attorney General's office. If you want to go down there, trying to get this classified as a hate crime, prosecuted as a hate crime, which is what it is. Which, by the way, if you are interested in this family, is the main thing this family wants. They want this to be called what it was, a hate crime. That's really like, if you take nothing else from what I've said today about how we can improve our town, just know, if you think you're supporting this family, that's the support they want. They want not to have that incident called something that it was not. Oh, okay, yes, thank you. The man who lives across the street enjoys sitting on his front porch, polishing or cleaning, I'm not quite familiar with the term, his firearms. So, and threatening the gardener of this family, who is, well, I don't even know, I haven't met him, but threatening him that he's going to utilize these firearms. So if people are concerned that maybe this was not trying to make her husband stop. She was trying to get the neighbors across the street to quiet down. Quiet down. And neighbors came by and they whispered. They've been ignoring this family for weeks, months, years. They came by when the news reporter was outside, when I was standing there with my friend, looking this way, and they said, "We're so sorry. We wanted you to feel that we support you." Because the racist people are living in this big house behind them, and they didn't want them to hear. Because they're afraid to be on the side of justice, to be on the side of humanity. They are uncomfortable, and so they have to whisper it. So this family wants that to stop. Like, neighbors, do what you will. Please be decent human beings, even when there's not a video recording on. Yes. Crying out loud! Like, I mean, so, but barring all that, like starting small, they just wanted to be told what it was. This is a hate crime. They would prefer not to have to live across the street with this family for sure. And people keep on telling me they really hope, they pray, they hope, they're just so supportive, and they really hope this incident will not drive this family out of our town. This is what we have to say to them. This is from the family. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And we are blessed for that. We are fortunate to have such brave, strong people living in our town who are willing to stand up and be subjected, but stand up for the right to live in this town just like the rest of us. So they're not going anywhere, and I would say if anyone needs to go somewhere, it might be the man across the street.
Be silent? No. We are going to make our voices heard right now. And we are going to yell, and we are going to scream until justice is served. You guys got it? All right. So let's go. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
What do we want?
Justice!
Where do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
No hate! No fear!
No fear! No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
And when do we want it?
Now!
No hate!
No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
All right, no hate!
No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
No hate!
No fear!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Mel, I'm from Bristol. We have been in the same situation, and also Warren. Hate lives everywhere. Anyone who thinks that there's a community in this town or this country that's not racist is being naive. We need to make every single town and community safe for everyone who lives here. That starts with education, it starts with affordable housing, it starts with equal rights for everyone that lives here to love and to live wherever they want. The most important thing you can do today besides supporting the family is vote. We need everyone out to vote. Black life matters. Everyone matters. Let's get out there and vote and show them our support. Thank you.
One thing also you could do is engage in the town's meetings, the town's council meetings. Make your voice heard. Even 18 or 14. Next council meeting is September 14th, so attend it and make your voice heard, please. Thank you.
A little louder.
My name is Ende Diallo, and I've lived in town for 17 years. My kids were born and raised here, but the experiences, the emotional pain is sometimes unbearable. I mean, but what I want to say is thank you very much for coming out and supporting us, because this is our daily lives. You guys might not know, and some of you will never experience the pain, but it is real. It is real, and it exists in this town. We've been, oh, this one. Okay. So, okay, I was saying that the emotional pain is it is unbearable. And I've lived it for 17 years. We've been trying our best just to live in a town peacefully and be treated like human beings. We are not asking for any handouts. We worked hard so that you can live in this town. So I think we deserve the respect. We deserve to be treated just like anybody else. I was born and raised in Senegal, which is in West Africa. I came here when I was 28 years old to get an education, and I ended up staying and living here and working hard. I have an education like everybody else. We've been good people. So I don't even know why I have to say this, but I feel like every time I have to prove it to people for them to treat me like I'm a human being. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for coming over today and supporting us, because we need this. And it has to be something that's ongoing. We're not just going to be here and like march for a couple of days and go sit down and come back. We need to keep it going so that they know we are Anyone else?
I just want to add one thing. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It's going to take months. It might take a year, but we're not going to give up. We're not moving. This is our community. This is our country. We have every right to protest. We have every right to love and live and learn how we want to and how we should. So get out there and vote, and make sure that you love your neighbors no matter who they are, no matter who they love, no matter where they live.
Anyone from the council like to speak?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Kuna.
I've got a big mouth, so I don't need a microphone.
Thank you.
I am here today in support of everything that what has been said. What happened the other day was despicable. We are constrained by laws that are written and what we can do. But I'm here to assure all of you that we will do everything we can possibly do to make sure that this gentleman is held accountable and that our community continues to grow and prosper and be the community that we all want it to be. So we're here behind you. We're doing everything we can to support you. And you've got that from me, and you've got that from all 5 members of our town council. So thank you.
We would like, as people who are leaders, I'll speak for myself. I would appreciate it if you didn't just support us and follow us, but if you led us in the direction towards progress, right? See, I'm just going to say, so one of the things that you can do concretely right now, I believe, is change the statement, unless you already have, that you issued the other day and the town council issued the other day about this being a racially, somewhat charged
To be
incident.
fair, that statement was issued by myself and the council president, not
Yes.
the entire
So
town
I would
council.
ask, have you
So-
issued a new one?
No, I have not.
Will you
And
do so?
I will do so as soon as the Attorney General's office tells me that it's a hate crime.
Great.
But at this point,
Okay.
it is not classified as a hate crime
Fantastic.
by law. But certainly, we are supportive of that family, and we do not want that to be part of our community. We are also going to open up, and we're going to have a community discussion. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to try and move forward and set a tone.
Personally, you feel like it was a hate crime?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think it was precipitated necessarily by by hate, but I think what happened was what that man said and what he did was reprehensible and abhorrent and shouldn't be part of our community.
What do you think drove him? What do you think was his motivator? If not hate, what was the impetus?
Oh, I think probably racism.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's hate. That is hate. That is.
I think no. I think throughout our country we see things like this happen. Sir? But I don't want it to happen in Barrington. I want us to be better than that.
So what do you do going forward to petition to help this family?
Well, that starts, I think, with a community discussion and a little bit of self-reflection on who we are and how we think and what we're doing. And that's what this is about, and that's what we need to go forward.
Sir?
Yes.
I have a bit of a problem with the point that you're saying it's not necessarily hate. If it's not hate, then what is it?
Oh, it's hate. There's no doubt there's hate.
Then outright
But I'm talking about a
say it
criminal
without
charge.
any ifs or it's buts.
I'm sorry?
Say it without any hesitation that it's hate. It's racially motivated hate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How could you use that language and not be hateful?
Okay,
How
but
can you still have
just
a
went back on your
If you
Those guns are no longer in the house.
they
They're
were
no longer in the house. Yeah.
Would you amend the letter so you said racial overtones? Can't you? Because that's like we're trying to shove something under the carpet. It is hate. It might be okay. Legally, you might be able to say it's a hate crime, but it is hate, and perhaps you should say that. If
And,
you can't.
and that gets into how the letter was written is because of how it impacts the possible prosecution.
But you can't
And
say
so you
hate
have to be
even
careful
though-
about what official statements you make. I'm making statements to you right now that aren't in that letter, and I hope you take them sincerely, because that's where they're meant.
Crime in the thing, but you could call it hate. Why can't you? I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know why you couldn't do that. But you could, statements seem to be addressing it, but in a way it's like, let's keep it under the carpet. We don't want to be like that in Barrington.
That's not
Why
the
can't
intent
we say
at
that?
all.
And then
Not
you
the
come up
intent
with
at
that.
all.
I don't think the intent matters, but by saying that, you're minimizing the effects of racism within the community, and you're making it seem like it's just some casual thing, when in reality it's something that is so implicitly dug into this town, which is founded on whiteness, that you can't just say racial.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you, because I think the people of Barrington, 99% of them are better than that. And because we've got one person or two or a dozen, I think our community is, let me finish. Our community is better than that. And what we need to do is we need to have a discussion, we need to move forward, we need to turn this thing around. And there, I don't know, I can't count how many racists are in town, but one is too many. And that's a conversation that we need to have as a community. But I am not going to denigrate Barrington as a community because of this incident. What I'm going to say is Barrington as a community should be better. And this incident shows us that we can do better. And we, all of us, and the people in this town need to work towards becoming better as a group. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't that an isolated incident? I walk my dog on Dr. Bradford, and I get racial epithets yelled out from our windows.
Well, that's exactly why I'm not saying this is I know it goes on throughout the town, but I'm not going.
And it's happened to me like several times.
That's the community conversation.
Our parents immigrated here from Lebanon, and we experience this on a somewhat regular basis.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm a member of the council, and I want to add to something the town manager said at the beginning. And he said that the actions the town takes is confined within law. And that's completely accurate. And that's why we want the community to engage in council meetings, because that is where we set the law. Some of our laws are constrained by federal law or state law, but we can set town ordinance and town policy to create the framework for the community we all want to have. So please show up and speak out, not just at rallies, but every day you have an opportunity to engage with the town government. Please do so. The next town council meeting is going to be on September 14th. The agenda will be out the Thursday before that. If you follow the town website, follow on Facebook, you'll be able to find the agenda. It'll have the Zoom link. It's never been easier to participate in government than during the time of COVID, unfortunately. But that is a silver lining. You can sit on your couch and log in and have your voice heard and be on the record and advocate for what you want in a setting where so September 14th is the next meeting.
Can I say one more thing? I just want to ask, I see some younger people here. I see teenagers, kids that I know. I reached out to every one of my kids' friends. My kids are away right now, so I couldn't get them to reach out. And I personally reached out to them, and I see so many of them here. I honestly see more of the kids that I reached out to here to support this than the adults. And I just wanted to say thank you for coming. Thank you. And thank you for speaking. Thank you guys for sharing your strength. Thank you for being here. And I want to encourage you guys, like Jacob was saying, like please start to get active. Like my name is Catherine Quinn. I'm going to be standing here later on. I'm just like a massage therapist, to be totally honest, and a songwriter. But I'm here, and I do write some grants, and I do. I want to support you, and I want the kids of this community to start, feeling empowered and taking action. And I see that happening. I see kids doing things and standing up against things that are unjust and offensive. And there was a bench recently that someone had scrawled some things on, and some kids from our town went and they painted over it, and then someone came back and the kids went back, and but the craziness of what goes on for some of our children, especially on social media where we can't see it, the things that kids are subjected to from their peers, and that comes from their parents. But part of me is a little bit like we're a little bit damaged goods, and look how many people are here. Our town has over 16,000 people, and this is on the news. We've been spreading the word about this for a long time. It's everywhere. I contacted the media, and thank you for coming. Media people are probably gone by now, but we contacted people to everyone in the town. This is a small town, and we kind of all know each other. And you guys are the ones that came, so thank you. Thank you for coming. But where's everybody else? So kids, young adults, like path makers for the future, like this, we're not handing it off to you and saying it's yours to fix. We broke it. We broke it. We understand that. So we are trying to lead somewhat, a little better than we were led, and we are here to support you in whatever efforts you want to make to help shape your own future and make this a better place to grow up and a better place to live. All right.
Hi, my name's Lisa Scorpio. I'm from Providence, but I owned a house on Forbes Street in Riverside for 15 years. And my children are black. When I was buying a house, we purposefully did not buy in Barrington because Barrington is racist. Barrington is known to be racist, and whenever you hear about people of color in Barrington, it's because there's a problem. So you can't sit here and clap and say 99.90% of Barrington people are not racist, because that's not true. People aren't moving here of color on purpose. They don't want to be subject to this.
Yep.
That's what I had to say.